housing market. For more on this, we're being joined by real estate expert Uri Man. He's joining us live from Houston. You are the CEO of Lagoon Development and the Executive VP of Land Tejas. Okay, I want to get into this with you because this is so interesting. Essentially, and you heard kind of my intro there, so many cities in the last, 5 to 7 years saw really a meteoric rise in home prices, especially here where we are in Phoenix, places like Las Vegas, Austin, Houston, like where you were. So do you think a crash is coming? What say you?
No, there is no crash coming. There's a lot of economists out there that'll give you these, doom and gloom stories. And if you look at the affordability of homes in the last 9 months, it sounds really bad when, say, somebody who could afford a $2,400 monthly payment in January could qualify for a $600,000 house. And right now, today, with interest rates, like you said, 7%, they can qualify for a $400,000 house. So that means there's been like a 30% reduction in affordability for somebody coming in to buy a home. But the question is, who does that really affect? And the answer is people who are looking to buy homes right now, and not the majority of Americans who are sitting on homes that they bought at very low interest rates. So what we're getting right now is what's called something like a lock-in effect, where people just will not sell their homes because they know if they buy another house, there'll be a higher interest rate. And that means that their inventory levels will continue to stay very low. The inventory levels in the United States are among the lowest in the last 40 years. There's practically no housing on the market. So we're in uncharted territories. You don't know what's going to happen the next few months, but even the most bearish economists are looking at the housing market and saying, okay, the housing market may fall 3%, 5% over the next year to 18 months. And that's from the highs. That's not necessarily where people purchase their homes. So when somebody asks me, hey, is it a good time to sell my house now? My answer has always been the same. Never, ever sell your home. If you can afford to keep your home for a long period of time, buying a home in the United States is the best way to make sure that you're saving and creating generational wealth that you can pass on to your family. And it's a great way to fight inflation because you own a home, that house in 10 years, no matter what, is going to be worth more. Just like the cost of groceries is always rising, rents are always rising. So it's a great time to always buy a house if you can afford it.
Yeah. So what you're saying, though, and my next question was, is it a buyer's or seller's market? You hear that a lot. You're saying it's kind of neither.
Yeah, it's really a strange situation. The housing market is doing all kinds of weird things because people who are looking to buy a new house today, they have to deal with these high interest rates unless they go to some of the great builders that are in our communities. For example, if you go to a new master plan community, the builders who have been so profitable, they have record profits in the last few years, they're able to buy down the interest rate. So you can buy a new home from 10, 15 different builders in a new master plan community, and they will typically offer you a lower interest rate because they can take a portion of their profits out of their home price and get you that lower interest rate. So that's a good place. So a lot of people are saying, oh, these high interest rates, that means the builders are not going to sell homes. Wrong. They are going to sell homes because they have record profits. And by the way, the cost of materials are going down. The cost of labor is now going down. So that means their profit margin may not necessarily shrink, and they're able to buy down interest rates for their consumers. All over the market, you go into a new community, you can see homes, get that 4.5% interest rate.
Uri, I just wanted to get your opinion because you follow this so closely. Are you getting, 2008 vibes a little bit? Are people in your, communities, are they talking about this, in business, kind of your compatriots there in Houston? Are they sensing similarities to what we saw back in 2008?
Absolutely not. And I'll tell you why. Because in 2008, we had people just buying homes who had no business buying homes. They had bad credit scores. And today we have the highest FICO scores in the history of the country. People buying homes qualify. They also buy with more cash. There are a lot of cash buyers. People have a tremendous amount of equity in their house and their homes. They're not stressed to sell their housing. We have some of the lowest unemployment in the history of the country. So we don't have people that are desperate to sell their homes. Look, that could change a little bit if all of a sudden we hit this dramatic recession and people are out of jobs and they're forced to sell their homes. But it's not likely to happen anytime soon. And people are very comfortable making their payments because we've had the strictest lending standards in the last 5 years that we've ever had. And those lending standards, by the way, seem to be getting stricter and stricter. So we don't have unqualified people buying homes. And that's what we saw in 2008. It's completely different. It's really uncharted territory. It's very difficult to look at the housing market and decide what's really going to happen. But my prediction is prices will probably stay flat for the next 18 months. Maybe nationally we'll see a small correction of 3%. Housing markets like Boise, Idaho, and Las Vegas and Dallas might see some more significant drops in home prices. But places like Houston, where we have relatively affordable housing and we haven't raised prices as much as places like Austin and other markets, it's a great place to buy a home because there's still room for appreciation.
Uri, I just want to put this question out just lastly, because maybe kind of what you're saying is, and I want your opinion on this, is it within reach for, say, a newly wedded couple or a middle-class American family to still buy a home? That's the American dream. People want to be homeowners. Or is that not within reach at this current moment in the market?
It actually is in reach. In fact, there was recently a study that came out a month and a half ago said that the United States is one of the most, if not the most affordable place to buy a single-family home in the world. And that's because we have this 30-year fixed-rate mortgage, which allows you to spread the payments over a long period of time, and it makes it more affordable than any other place. Most countries don't have a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. So people have to buy a home with a 10-year instrument or a floating rate mortgage where they're really susceptible to changes in mortgage payments. So in the United States, even with these interest rate rises that have happened in the last 9 months, we still have one of the most attainable markets for buying a new home. And certainly it should be in everyone's best interest to buy a home because you get the interest rate tax deduction. You'll see the appreciation over your lifetime. And right now, we're going to see a lot of people buying homes because Generation Z is aging into marital. You see everybody getting married now, tons and tons of weddings, and that's no coincidence. We have more people aging into marriage status than ever before in the United States, and those people want to have a house. They want to have the American dream. They want the white picket fence. That American dream is still alive, and it's a great time to buy a home as long as you can afford that mortgage payment. Eventually, that home will appreciate.
All right. Uri Man, we appreciate your insight into this. This is definitely an interesting topic. I hope some of our viewers found it informative if they are, on the precipice of buying a home. And we'll talk again. Thanks so much.
Okay. Thanks for having me, Andrew.
Okay, hope you enjoyed that conversation. We're going to take just a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we do want to keep going with some more of these economics headlines. Our own Josh Breslow spoke to an expert as well earlier today about the labor market, about inflation. Like I said, we're going to get those numbers, the consumer price index numbers, to see, year over year if inflation either went down, stayed the same, or went up. So that'll be something to look forward to tomorrow. We'll be back in just a moment.